Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Matt Horn
is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
What is up, my bandit legions? God Queen Tyrene coming at you live with my brother Troy. We're streaming, you're screaming, and we're all ready to open the great vaults.
Hey, Matt, what's going on, man? It's Michael Turner. You remember we had an interview scheduled today? I'm Zero in Borderlands 3. I play Zero. You might not recognize the voice without all the processing, but this is me. Hey, okay. Guess I missed you. Hey, listen, sorry I missed you. Call me back, you know the number. But in the meantime, man, do me a favor. Run down to your game store and buy Borderlands 3, man. This game is awesome. And if you haven't had a chance, buy all the Borderlands series and just binge them. Just play them back to back to back. You won't regret it. I've heard people tell me it's the best game in the universe, and very few people lie to me. I mean, I'm married, so some people do, but very few people lie to me. Anyways, Matt, it's Michael, so call me back when you get a chance, man. God, getting a hold of you is like getting a hold of the president.
So on the line we have Michael Turner talking to us. From where are you talking to us from, Michael?
I'm talking to you from New York City.
Oh, it's coming up to December. Are you having cold weather?
We just got cold weather yesterday for the first time. Just got a little bit cold on us. Got a little light snow yesterday, but nothing heavy. But it's in the the 20s here, but the 20s Fahrenheit. I have no clue what that is, Celsius or centigrade. So do the math yourselves. But it's chilly.
You left a really nice voicemail message saying that I was hard to get hold of, much like your US president.
Yes.
The funny thing is, right, I try not to make these too political or topical, but I find it interesting now that we're sort of no closer to Brexit and now we're having a general election, and then at the same time, your president's going to get impeached.
You know, it's like father, like son. Both countries decided to go haywire at the same time, you know? If one was going to go haywire, the other had to as well, maybe? I'm not sure how that works.
I would say we should move to Canada, but then he's had a bit of a problem as well recently. We don't talk about that.
Nowhere we're going to be safe, man. Plus, it's awfully cold there, too.
It's almost like we should go for the Borderlands.
Hey, there you go. That sounds like a great idea.
So, obviously, we're here to talk about Borderlands 3. I mean, where do we start? It's had favourable reviews, I think we can safely say that. Your sort of connection to the franchise is interesting. Obviously, you were part of Borderlands 2 and obviously the Telltale game series version of it. What was production of the game like for you in terms of Borderlands 3?
It's obviously been a number of years since Borderlands 2, and that was ages ago, and I lived in a different city. I lived in Dallas, and then through the process of doing Borderlands 3, I've been bouncing back and forth. So I did some recording in Los Angeles and some recording in New York, and even did a session in San Diego. So it's been kind of all over. So it's felt a little more disjointed as far as where I've done it at. But what's been cool about it is the character kind of feels so much like home to me now. You know, just getting the director on the line, and once we get the lines up and running, it's sort of in a place where, you know, even being far from in a new setting or something like that, it still feels comfortable and cool. And I'd say one of the coolest experiences of this go-round was I was at the studio in New York the same time Ice-T was doing part of his part. It was a cool experience this time around. Yeah, I got to work with some cool people, and it's always like coming home in a weird way.
Interesting, big, large question for you, Michael Turner.
Yeah.
Why do you think the Borderlands franchise is so popular?
That's a really good question. I'm actually going to kind of refer to my buddy. I try to keep an outsider's perspective a little bit because I think it helps me to know the knowledge, but at the same time not be kind of super fanny. That means a different word for you guys. Like not be a super fan, you know what I mean? So, my buddy said this. I asked my buddy the same question. Hey, what do you like about the game? And he said he and his son sat down and played it together. And he said what was awesome about it is my buddy is in his 40s and his son is 12. And he said the two of them were both laughing equally as hard and were both sort of equally as invested in the thing. And I kind of think that's what's so great about this game is it's a really cool story that like all ages kind of can jump on, and there's a variety of characters. So I think that's what they've done. They've kind of cast a net that is pretty appealing, pretty wide-ranging net, if that makes any sense.
I will talk about sort of conventions I've recently been to.
Yeah.
MCM, which is the most obvious one.
Yeah.
You'll be very surprised to hear this. There was a Borderlands cosplay, and it wasn't just one character. I counted at least 10.
Yeah, and I heard the same thing at a convention in Los Angeles this year. My buddy went there. He's a lighting designer, and it was before the release, and he was like, there was tons of people dressed up and a huge display, and I've seen some of that too, and it's really cool. And I tell you, I actually want to get out to one of those one of these days. I've been invited to do some, but as your listeners may notice, my voice is quite different from Zero's voice. And I'm proud of the work we've done because it was a collaboration to come up with what Zero's voice was. I went in the booth the first time, and I got the part, and I had an idea of this is the way I want to do them. And it was me and an engineer and the director. And so I would play a little bit, and then they would add an effect. And then I would play a little bit with that effect, and then they would tweak the effect. And between sort of the three of us, we came up with the idea what this character was going to be. And, as time went by, I've sort of hidden the fact that I did it because when I meet people and they say, "Oh, you're Zero," I say, "Yeah." They're like, "Well, you don't sound like him." I say, "Yeah, I know." As time goes on, people have sort of found me, and so I recognize that there is this kind of rabid fan base. I get maybe a couple times a month, my agent will get something in the mail for me to sign, or a different piece of paraphernalia that I need to put my signature on, or I need to whatever. And it's made me realize that even trying to sort of hide from the publicity that I have because, I don't want to disappoint people by not sounding exactly as they expect, people have still found me. And that makes me realize, wow, this game really does have kind of a cult following and kind of a rabid fan base that's, it's pretty amazing to see and to hear.
Do you get much fan art?
I've gotten a couple of things. One guy who has found me everywhere I've been, and it's almost scary that he's found me, but he's found me everywhere I've been, and he sent me a couple of the action figures to sign and a couple other things to sign, and then after doing that a couple of times, he sent me a sketch of my character, and it's actually framed and hanging up in my apartment. So I get a little, not a ton, but I did get that, and that was like extremely special to me because sometimes as a voiceover artist, you go into this tiny closet and you talk into a can, and you feel like you talk into that can and then it goes away and you wonder how much it actually affects people. And so it's really nice to get that back and realize that, wow, this really is having an effect on someone's life. And yeah, it's pretty special to get that.
So today, which was whenever, they released the new updated Sonic.
Yeah. I saw the trailer, the commercial, yeah. I haven't seen the movie yet.
It looks so much better now, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh, yes. The original one was a nightmare. I mean, the original one is the stuff that absolute nightmares are made of, that horror films are made of. Like, those teeth on the original one, they looked like the teeth that had been ripped out of another person's head and shoved in his mouth as, like, fake human person dentures. Like, it was scary, scary stuff. There was no way I was going to see it with the original one. And now, with the new one, man, it just rings true. Like, as far as the old video game goes, I'm actually really excited to see it.
So obviously Hollywood, in terms of movie adaptations of video games, have a sort of running pattern. It doesn't work. I mean, Assassin's Creed is a good example of this. I'm hoping it's not going to be the same way with Sonic. If you go into the latter end of the 90s, you're talking Super Mario Brothers, which I liked, but nobody else does.
Yeah, you might be alone on that.
Yeah. But obviously, I do have to ask the question, do you think they could do a Borderlands adaptation?
Ooh, I think that they could, and one of the reasons I think they could and it would be successful is Borderlands has a lot of story material. Like when you played Super Mario, for instance, there was a story there for sure, but I think the average person who played that game wasn't aware of a story. They were aware of a little guy eating a mushroom and stepping on a, Koopa Troopa and all that stuff. Like, that was as far as we had kind of invested mentally for, I would say, a good percentage of humans. But I think Borderlands after Tales of the Borderlands and all these different iterations of it, I think there could be a film there. I think it would be really interesting, yeah.
Do you think it would be better live action or animation?
You know what? This is where I'm partial. I'm partial to animation over live action because they take something live action and their idea is to try to make it look as cool as it did when it was animated. And to me, I'm like, well, then why not just go with the animation because it already looked awesome? So to me, I would vote for animation. Some of the fight scenes could certainly be incredible live action. So I'm going to plead the fifth on this one and just say I think they both could be great, just entirely different. Live action is easy to screw up. Like, I've recently seen a live action, and I don't want to name names, The Lion King, and it was terrible because I felt like it in no way captured kind of the real emotion because live action for those things wasn't as expressive, wasn't as cool, wasn't as interesting as something that was animated and we could kind of juggle a little bit. So for me, I'd be interested in a live action as long as they could keep the same action that we get, the same kind of intensity and, kind of action that we get in an animation, if that makes any sense.
So going back to Borderlands 3, are there any sort of funny anecdotes you can share about the production of the game?
What's weird about me is having done it all over now, I'm sort of a one-man band. I largely, go into a studio and I don't usually see the other characters, the other actors, really, except for this time, obviously, Ice-T, which was cool. But what's always funny is to get the result that we get for Zero, for the voice that he is, it's a very monotone sort of speech pattern that I use. And it's very funny because his lines are not so monotonous or dry, and so it's always funny going in when they write these crazy haikus for him and you have to kind of say it in this flat monotone. And so inevitably what I hear is, I've got one headset on and one headset off, and then they're like, all right, we're going to pick up at line 32, okay, here it is, and I see the haiku, and it's very funny, and I say it in this very flat tone, and inevitably whenever the earphone comes back on in my ear because they've hit their microphone to say let's move on, they're all cracking up laughing. So I've developed this technique that when I'm in the booth, they say, okay, Michael, let's pick up line 32. And then I say that funny haiku, and then I instantly turn the volume down on my headphones because I know when they come back in, I'm going to hear them laughing in my ear.
Can you give us a bit of the monotone?
Yeah, it's really funny. In fact, that same buddy came to visit me in New York this week, and he was like, well, what's it sound like before you do it? And so the monotone way that I produce Zero on my end will be something like, you thought you had strength. Your strength ran out, and now you are dead. Goodbye. So that's kind of how it sounds on my end. And then they drop it like 2 octaves or something, and then they add all this computery sound, and there you go. And yeah, so it's quite different on my end and quite funny hearing it on our end. My favorite one that I ever did was, it took us so many times to do it. It was back in Borderlands 2. They realized that the beginning to the Fresh Prince song, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that it's in perfect haiku form. Zero was driving a vehicle, and the vehicle, whenever it crashed, he would say, this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. And we just kept cracking up over and over and over as we did that because they were so tickled that they realized that they could make this into perfect haiku form.
Got a funny suspicious feeling you're going to be asked to do that at a con soon.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't mind.
Yeah. So obviously let's talk a bit about you, Michael, you yourself. What made you want to get into acting in the first place?
Oh, well, I'm not a religious man per se, but I say that I have become an actor because it was God's concession so I wouldn't be homeless, because I can't really build anything or fix anything. I'm not good at math. I don't have really any sustainable skills in any other capacity. So what I do very well is speak and communicate. And so at a young age, that started lending itself to acting. I was always the class clown in elementary school that was doing impressions of my teachers and students and all that and getting in trouble for it. But then before you knew it, they were saying, hey, I remember in middle school I did this impression of my gym coach and I got in real trouble for it. And then I went to the principal's office and he was like, well, let me hear the impression. And I did. And he was like, awesome, we have to have you do this on the intercom for the announcements. And everybody will think it's really the gym coach. And so, then I started kind of getting encouraged to do the very things that had gotten me in trouble. And, the rest is history, as they say.
What advice would you give to anyone wanting to pursue a career in voice acting? Obviously, that's one of your specialties, I would say.
Yes. I'm going to give you two pieces of advice, and I want you to stay with me after the first one because you're going to be like, what? Whenever anybody asks me, what's your advice about being an actor, be it a voice actor or any other kind of actor, my first piece of advice is don't do it. And here's why. Not because I don't want you to do it, but because if me telling you not to do it is enough to dissuade you, you're not going to make it. Because you're going to hear no 100 million times. So if me, a kind of friendly guy who is, totally willing to help, tells you no is enough for you to go, forget it, then okay. But if me telling you that makes you want to do it all that much more, okay, now you're wired correctly for this thing, and you've got the very disease I do, which is this virus that won't let me do anything else. Because if you can do something else, if you could be a plumber or a mailman and be happy, God bless you, your life is going to be a little easier. Now, that being said, if me telling you that doesn't turn you off, all right, you're in the right place. Now, as far as particular for voiceover, this is my piece of advice. There's two little things that I practice all the time that help me a lot. One is you're a voice actor 24 hours a day, and a voice actor's job is to read things aloud. So I always advise people to read things aloud around you all the time. I walk through the subway, and people probably think I'm mentally ill because I walk through the subway and I read every billboard and every advertisement, all that. I read them aloud because it helps me get an idea of how I sound today and how I'm going to use my voice. I walk by one billboard and I'll say, tonight at 8. And then you walk by another one and you say, new, look at this product. It's brand new, coming to a market near you. And then you look at another billboard and you say, have you gotten yourself checked for the latest disease? You read it out loud and you get to know what your voice is today because your voice is always changing. And then also, I'm a big fan of something called lead-ins. So when you get copy for voiceover, our voices always sound better mid-sentence. So if the copy starts with something like if it's a commercial and maybe the copy is, I'm in the market for a new car, but I don't know where to look. It sounds weird if you start with, I'm in the market for a new car. It sounds really abrupt. So I start with a lead-in, which is something else like, hey, you know what? I'm in the market for a new car and I don't know where to look. I can always chop that beginning off. But those lead-ins help you get emotionally invested to the moment you're doing, and it works even more for character stuff. What happened right before this? What's going on? It helps immerse you into the world. So practice, and lead-ins, I think are big keys. And then the last one I'll give you for free is mess it up. If you're doing animation, mess it up. Like no one speaks perfectly. No one says, I am here. Fight me now. I didn't see you. You got to mess that up. It's not how humans talk. It should be, I am here, so you should fight me now because I didn't see you. That sounds more natural. So I guess that's all I can offer you.
Do you want me to do an example of a lead-in?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, why not? I heard, like you do, that you were in Walker, Texas Ranger.
I certainly was, sir, yes. Blast from the past. I was. It was really cool, and this is something that I both tell people but don't tell people. It's like not, I'm married now, but not first date material if I were dating, because I actually played a few times Chuck Norris in flashbacks. I was a younger man at the time, and so whenever he would have a flashback where he was a younger man, that's where I came in. This is the craziest plot ever. Chuck Norris's character got bit by a snake and warped back to the Old West. And then inside the Old West, he had a flashback to when he was a child. And I was him as a teenager hunting down the people that killed his parents. That was it. But it was awesome. I got to shoot guns and ride horses and chase bad guys. It was a good time, man.
Mike, can I ask a question?
Sure.
You'll think, my God, he's onto something here.
Okay.
Did Chuck Norris invent Inception?
Whoa, you've just blown my mind, Matt. He may have. He may have. Wow. It sounds like he did. I think we've confirmed it. Chuck Norris is maybe the secret driving force behind the entire Matrix. You know what's funny? I didn't work with him that much because I always played him. So we never were on camera at the same time. Isn't that crazy?
Chuck Norris doesn't have a stand-in. He has a younger version.
That's exactly right. But I did get to stand back to back with him one day. That was a goal of mine because as I did the work, people would talk. They'd be like, hey, he's about the same height as Chuck, right? About the same height, right? And so finally when we got together, they were like, hey, you two, stand back to back. And so we stood back to back, and they said we were the same height. In my heart, it was really that he was shorter and they just didn't want to hurt his feelings.
I've managed to look up Chuck Norris memes on the internet. I wish I hadn't now.
Oh, they're amazing. Like, I've heard that one, they say, when most people do push-ups, they push their body up, but Chuck Norris just pushes the entire planet down.
Well, I think the best one I've just seen is Chuck Norris doesn't turn on the shower. He stares at it until it starts to cry.
That's incredible, man. You know you've done something right in your life when this is the legacy you leave. He's got to feel pretty good about himself when he goes to bed at night. Hang
on a sec, there's a few more. Chuck Norris was once on American Idol. He won using sign language.
That's incredible. That's incredible, man.
Chuck Norris died 20 years ago. Death just hasn't built up the courage to tell him.
Oh, it's so good, man.
Chuck Norris doesn't need a hammer. The nails drive themselves into the wood to get away from him.
These are brilliant, man. I mean, that's how you know you're a true ass kicker, when people talk this way about you, you know? So many other tough guys out there, but nobody gets the treatment that Chuck does. He's kind of in a special badass slot in everyone's mind. It's kind of great, man.
Never mentioned Chuck Norris in a podcast before, so that's another tick off the list. I'll tell you that now. Wonderful. Chuck Norris doesn't do podcasts.
Podcasts just do him, or what's the next line?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Chuck Norris doesn't do podcasts or voice acting. He just looks at the mic and all the words are already on. No, it doesn't work really, does it?
Yeah, Chuck Norris could have done this better than us. Yeah, for sure, man. He's amazing.
So let's go back to you, Michael, because we could be here for the next 20 minutes doing Chuck Norris jokes. Obviously, you've been in a number of different projects. Which actors and actresses have been your favourites to work with and why?
That's a good question. My favorite actor I ever worked with actually was an actor. No one's going to know this guy, but his name was Jerry Russell, and he was an actor in Dallas. And he acted there for a long time, and he made a theater that is still there and kicking it and just doing great. And the reason why I loved this guy is a lot of famous people worked with him, and this guy, he taught me to have balls of steel. Like, I worked with him on a project with much bigger actors, and he was so fearless in his work. And when he passed away several years ago, many years ago now, probably 10 years ago, when he passed away, man, the number of people that came out of the woodwork with just huge amounts of admiration for him was astonishing. And it just kind of like has become this amazing reminder in my life that, like, it doesn't matter how famous you are or aren't. If your work is good, if you're unapologetic about your work, if you are diligent in your work, and if you offer up your work with a stringent level of honesty, man, everybody around you, from Oscar winners on down to children, are all going to gain respect for what you do because the craft is what's important. And so Jerry Russell's my favorite actor ever that I've ever worked with. But as far as actors that you might know, it was a real thrill working with Ice-T. And this is so funny, but I actually did a show a few years ago with Nev Campbell's younger brother named Christian Campbell. And it was a real pleasure working with him, too, because he was same thing, man. This guy was really fun and had a real way of putting people at ease. And I just really loved his work. So although I've probably worked with some bigger names than these are the people I respect the most. I don't know if that makes sense or not, or I don't know if that is the answer you're looking for.
Well, to make your life a bit easier, who would you like to work with in the future?
Who would I like to work with? I'm a big fan of Robert Duvall because sometimes when you see a really great actor or you hear a really great voiceover actor, you're wowed by how good they are. You go see a Daniel Day-Lewis film or Christian Bale or something, and you watch and you sit there and go, wow, how did he do that? And holy smokes, that was cool. Robert Duvall, I've never been wowed like that. I've only been fully invested in his character. Everything I've seen him do, I've not thought one moment about Robert Duvall, but I've thought leaps and bounds about the situation that particular character is in. And that's the kind of actor I want to be and work with, and that I strive to be more of every day, is a guy who we less understand his choices and more understand his character. That's, I think, a guy I would love to work with is Robert Duvall. He's my dream scene partner.
Obviously, you do have a life as a voiceover artist. Is there any characters that you would like to do?
Characters that I would like to do? Yeah, there's this one voice that I ended up using for something small. So I used to have 2 dogs, and now I have 1 dog. And my dogs have voices. I give my dogs voices. I'm sure a lot of people do that, but I give everything in my life a voice. It kind of drives my wife bonkers, but like the drawer in our kitchen has a voice, and my 2 dogs had a voice. One's passed away, but the one that passed away, I used the voice that I had for him on like a 3-line character for this small animation project. And there was talks for a while. They liked the voice so much. There was talks for a while that they were going to like try to find a project to use that voice and kind of this kind of funny idea of this character. And so I would like to one day be able to do that because it comes from such a heart place for me. This dog that I had I don't have kids, and my dogs are kind of like my kids. So yeah, I'm weird like that. These are the dreams that I have. I'd love to be able to do this complex character in my head that was my old dog, and so I would love to be able to do him.
Well, I'm going to give you a 1-minute plug, Michael. A 1-minute plug. To plug Borderlands 3. Now, the other interesting thing on your IMDb, you're going to have to help me out here. You have a number of shorts coming out.
Yeah. I do a lot of short films. I like the effort of working. I like kind of rehearsing almost more than the performance sometimes. So yeah, I've done a lot of short films, and I got a few things that are in the oven as well still. So yeah.
I'm noticing a couple of them. You've got the character of Jonah. Is it like a mini series or a YouTube series or?
Jonah. I'm trying to think of which role that was. I'm not sure. I do have a series that I just got finished making in LA, and it's being pitched to Netflix, and I hope this works out. It's a series called Side Effects, which is cool. It's about a prescription drug company that is making drugs that are harming people, and I play this sort of like shady attorney who's chasing after them. So that's getting sold, and hopefully getting sold. It's been in the works. It had a really big production behind it in LA, so I hope that something more becomes of it. So yeah.
And obviously, you need to do the plug for Borderlands 3.
You want me to just tell you about it, or?
No, encourage people to buy it. That's why you're here, Michael.
Yo, hey, listen, everybody out there, go buy a copy, or 10 or 12. Buy 20 copies. Go to your local game store and buy every copy there is, because what better Christmas present? Yeah, no, really, honestly, I think you should buy it because everybody that I've talked to who has played this game says it's addictive, it's fun, and you get really invested in the characters. And I just happen to think Gearbox makes some amazing material. And to be honest, Zero's kind of a badass. And in Borderlands 2, he doesn't talk as much as he does in Borderlands 3. And the more he talks, the more you're going to love him. So go out and get Borderlands. Play it copious amounts, and also particularly get involved with the character Zero, because I've heard that the guy who voices him might be the coolest guy on Earth.
Are there plans for Borderlands 4?
I have heard rumors. That's all I can say. I probably can't say anything more without getting myself in trouble, but I have heard rumors.
Wonderful stuff.
There may or may not be a Borderlands 4.
Well, Michael, it's been a pleasure interviewing you.
Thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure to be interviewed by you. It's been a good laugh. Thank you.
Thanks very much for your time.
Talk to you again one day. Take care.
Bye-bye now.